Hello, I'm Richard Sanchez. I'm with the California Conference of Directors of Environmental Health, and I'm here today to talk about the new requirements for on-site wastewater treatment systems, otherwise known as AB 885. As you know, these are typically associated with residential development where there's no public sewer system. In the state of California, we have about 1.2 million of these. Why were these new regulations created? Basically, we had some old systems, and we also, under the old regulations, didn't have allowance for what are called advanced systems. Advanced systems are helpful because they will allow for development in areas where perhaps it was precluded under the old requirements. How did we get here? Hannah Beth Jackson out of Ventura, Santa Barbara area created AB 885 in 2000, which required that the state water board, develop on-site wastewater treatment system regulations by 2004. It took us a while to get here, basically because we had a lot of stakeholders involved, and we wanted their input and we wanted to get it right. So they did develop some requirements. They were approved and will become effective May 13th, 2013. What they came up with was a tier system. So we have 5 tiers, 0 through 4. And just briefly, tier 0, is basically a system that's working fine. There's no issues. So tier 0, a system, no problems, no daylighting, working. Tier 1 is if the local agency chooses to use the state standards. Now, that may not be your first option because the state standards are very prescriptive. However, that is an option for the locals to just use state standards. Tier 2 allows the locals to develop what's called a local agency management plan. If they create this plan and become an approved LAMP that has to be approved by the state board, then they have more flexibility in allowing advanced systems when installing the septic system. So CCDEH very much likes the Tier 2 system because it does allow that flexibility. The Tier 3s you may fall under Tier 3 when your system is located near what's called an impaired water body. And those are defined by EPA as water bodies that are actually listed by them and provided to the state because they've been impacted by either bacteria, chemicals, or something, and they're listed as an impaired water body, otherwise known as 303D listed. We have a lot of those in California. However, not all of the 303D listed sites in California are on the state site, so it's important to check the list on the State Water Board site to see if you actually have one of those listed sites in your county. Only 15 counties in California have the listed sites, so you should check on that. If your septic system is within 600 feet of one of those 303D listed sites that's on the Water Board's list, then they may have to do some advanced treatment or they may have to use advanced systems in their treatment systems on site. Tier 4 is when a system is failing. When the system is failing, there definitely has to be an upgrade. We can't have a failing system. So depending on where it's located, depending on your basin plan, they may have to do some advanced system on a Tier 4 system. Who is this going to impact? The impact is going to be basically to the owners of the septic system. They may have to upgrade their system. They may have to, especially if they're close to an impaired water body, they may have to make some upgrades to their system. The local governments, the main impact would be if you choose to be a LAMP, a local agency management plan agency. If you do that, then you have to create that plan and submit it to the water board for their approval. And for the state has to review their basin plans. Every regional board has a basin plan for their area. This also requires that they review that basin plan. In addition, they'll be reviewing your LAMP if you decide to become a local agency management plan agency. There is some reporting requirements that go along with AB 885 for the locals. They have to report changes to their systems. If they're in a Tier 2, they have to let the water board, state board, know about any upgrades, and they have to keep them apprised of everything that goes on related to the number of septic systems they have in their jurisdiction. There's also maybe some reporting requirements if it's a Tier 3 system. In other words, if it's located near an impaired water body. The timeline for this is right now the state board should be reviewing their basin plans. The locals should be developing their lamps if they decide to be Tier 2, and then the state board needs to review those lamp submittals to approve them for implementation. Further actions that may need to take place, the local agencies should be in constant contact with the regional boards to make sure they know about the changes to their basin plan. In addition, the state has a revolving fund which may provide funding because they realize that this may impact homeowners in a financial way. So there may be some funds available on a loan basis to upgrade systems. Please check the CCDEH website if you have any more questions.